Hey guys, Lancer here. Hope everyone's doing well. Thanks for joining me while looking to some more MTG stocks. Please like and subscribe. It'll keep my motivation going. Anyways, let's get right to it. So the first card, we have Crumbling Sanctuary from Macadian Masks. Masks? Anyways, it's 5 colorless for an artifact, and it says whenever 1 damage would be dealt to a player, that player removes the top card of his or her library from the game instead. This is actually pretty cool. It's pretty much a mill effect for 5, not on the reserve list. You can get a World Championship deck version for 48 cents. Is it an amazing card? Not for the cost, but then again, if you put this card out there, you're probably just going to be the target in a Commander game, but it's pretty cool. Skarg, the Rage Pits from Plane Chase 2012. Now, this card has gone up pretty much straight in the last couple of days. Started off at almost 63 cents. Now it's at around about $5. You can still buy them from TCG for 50 cents. So I think the average price is being manipulated. But it is a cool effect. Pretty much 1 green, 1 red, and tap for a land. Target creature gets +1/+1 and gains trample until end of turn. Cool effect. You can get it in a few different versions, but I just don't know if the price is going to stick. Higuru, the Still Wind from Plane Chase Anthology. Now, this card is really weird because I actually got one recently when they mixed up my packaging in an eBay order. I got the money back for that order as well. I ordered a tiger, not a tiger, it's like a Badlands or something from eBay. And then I just got a random, what was it? Betrayers of Kamigawa pack. And in that pack was this card. And that was just a couple of, that was no, sorry, the year before. Uh, Hard to believe 2021 is already gone, but this card is now moving from $10 to almost $25. Yeah, $20 is probably the average, but of course, with all the ninja support that's coming out in the new set, it makes perfect sense why there's a card like this here to begin with. It's a really good card, really good in Ninja Tribal. You're going to have a hard time getting a replacement for a card like this, especially since it can say to target ninja creature becomes can't be blocked this turn. Very powerful. Rexon, the Risen Deep from Secret Lairs. Now, I think this was part of the Monsters Secret Lairs or something. I'm pretty sure a lot of people already have this card. I mean, I got mine from World Wake, must be, or Commander Anthology, or Commander. I forgot which one version I had. But it's a cool card, especially in the mill deck, because it lets you pick any card from, especially people that have islands and swamps, and swing in instants and sorceries. Use from when you were milling them. Dovino's Veto. Now, this card spiked quite a bit recently, and it's kind of annoying because I wanted to have a look at this card. It's a good counter spell, and it can not be countered as well. It just feels like $1.28 right now. It's going to continue going higher because it's in high demand. It's been playing in a lot of modern decks. And yeah, I can easily see it sitting at $4. Ali from Cairo from Arabian Nights. Now, this is one of those Arabian Nights old cards. It's got a lot of people that are nostalgic for this time period. Getting into it, sitting at around about $650. You can get probably a well played or medium played one from TCG for 427 on the reserve list, so it's going to be hard to find any other versions of this out there. Early Harvest from ninth edition. Cool card. It's been moving up quite aggressively since 2019. I mean, it flattened out at 70 cents in 2017. It's an instant. Target player untaps all basic lands he or she controls. This is a one-off. You can then cast. So let's say you have 7 mana. You can cast a 4 mana spell and then play this for 3 mana and then untap it and you're back to 7. Is it worth it for a card in hand? Really depends on what you can do, but I bet you can do some cool stuff if you plan around it. Moving on. Oh, it's a early harvest again. I must have clicked it twice. Thron Tome from Weatherlight. Now, this is probably nostalgic because there is cool stuff about Weatherlight. I remember reading, maybe not the books, but at least the shorthand version of it. Lots of cool stuff. This card has already spiked up from 79 cents, moved all the way to $9, or at least market price of $34. Kept moving up to $4.69. That's funny. Sure, Rudy would have had something to say about it, but fell back down to $1.76. You can get it for 89 cents on TCG. The card itself is pretty straightforward. Pay 5, tap, reveal the top 3 cards of your library. Target opponent chooses one of those cards. Put that card into your graveyard, then draw 2 cards. Not that good. For 9 mana to get this ball rolling, they're gonna filter your 3 cards. Yeah, that's terrible. Serenity from Classic 6th Edition. At the beginning of your upkeep, destroy all artifacts and enchantments. They cannot be regenerated. Actually, it's a pretty good card as long as you're not playing an enchantment deck. Sitting at $2.45, moved up by almost 200% since the low of like $1. So we'll have to see where that card goes. Next, Nicol Bolas from Legends. This is a Legends card. Nicol Bolas is very iconic, sitting at about a 233 on the market. TCG says $164, but I think this is one of those really tough to evaluate cards. It really does depend on how much of a collector you are, because obviously you can get this guy from Chronicles for $2.70. Even the Masters version of it, Master 25 for $1.92. This is just iconic art. Probably not going to be printed in that form again. Now this one looks like it's been heavily manipulated. Eureka from Legends. It is on the reserve list, but it had a massive spike up to, is that 100,000? That's $100,000. Yeah, nothing else on this map is going to be anything significant. Let me just try to filter it. It's just dropped. It's just moved up. This card is very hard to read. Sitting at 849 on TCG Player. It looks like there's some heavy manipulation to get this prices all over the place. And moving over to MTG Goldfish. Now we will obviously cover the dual lands. They're not doing anything too interesting, but overall we'll have to see what happens. So standard, we have obviously. Oh, actually, these are some weird movements. So we got some movements from Zendika. So 5% gain for Agadium's Awakening. But the biggest gains is from the recent set of Innistrad, where we got Florian Veldaren Scion moving up by 25% and now sit at $2.53, and Graxillus Illithid Scholar moving up by 39% to sit at $1.78. There are also some drops, but there's nothing too crazy. This is all from the new set. The price point is going to be moving all over the place, so hard to predict. So let's move on to Pioneer. So Pioneer's a bit easier. Let's move on to the weekly change. Smothering Tide, amazing tide, moving up by 8%, and I said at $40.93. Crazy. Rin and Seri Inseparable, now 12% gain to sit at $14.56. Yeah, this is all quite impressive gains. Biggest drops, 9% for Woodland Mystic, but that's from the starter deck. I think you can just get that for free. Next biggest drop, 7% for Cruel Reality, but I know that's been moving up and down since the Aura Commander came out recently. Nothing else really to talk about for Pioneer. Moving on to Modern, you got Solitude at 8% gain. That is insane. All of these elementals were so pushed that it's hard to believe that they're going to ever come down from these kinds of prices. We'll have to see what happens. If modern boxes get reprinted, I guess there's a chance that they might be able to catch up, but yeah. 13% gain for Lord of the Undead, 15% gain for the first sliver, now sitting at $20, 11% gain for Bitter Ordeal. Now, I haven't seen that card in a long, long time. A 23% gain for Tide Kiga, the Tide Star. Now, this was from Kamigawa, and now it's sitting at $10, which is actually crazy. I wonder what changed, because it's a cool card, but it's not anything breaking. And you got some big losers. So you got top losers is Oathkeeper Takanai Daishu. Now that's a legendary artifact. Perfect for, I think it's perfect for, no, I was gonna say, uh, drawing a blank, not rogues, the ninja decks, but I don't think that it's actually as good as people think it is. And that spike has really dropped down. It's now dropped down by 20% to sit at $14.37. You got Kondo, Lord of the Aiju, now 21% drop to sit at $12.81. And Defense Grid also dropping by 12% to now sit at $20. Legacy, it's going to be hard to really keep tabs on this. You got a 628% gain for Gaia Liege, but I not on the reserve list. Uh, really for Legacy, it's heavy manipulation for some of these, but you can see the average is actually moving down. There's more cards with a higher average moving down, except for this outlier from Gaia Liege that are actually moving down. So we'll have to see how that goes. And for Vintage, What has been moving down? Nothing really to talk about. None of the dual lands are on here, so we'll have to see how that goes. So, talking about dual lands, let's move on to them. I've got Badlands here, very flat. You can pick one up for 355 on TCG. I'll just go and check that out right now. Bayou still gaining by the looks of it, $400 on TCG. Um, Underground Sea flatlining as well. Now this is the one I was looking at, which is Volcanic Island. Now if you drag it out, you can see that there is a pattern of it slowly just drooping down. Now I opened it up in TCG to just see, so you can get it damaged for 474, but that's not really worth it. You can see the price has been slowly dropping down on TCG Player. Heavily played, lightly played for $700 does not sound bad at all. And near mint for 770, five of them. Now, I know that's still expensive, especially compared to 2020 when we were all buying these, but that is flat. That's a near mint, and we saw near mints go for like crazy amounts in the past. So we'll have to see how that goes. And you got a heavily played with 374, and it actually does look like there was on this, what is that, November was a down, and now it's been moving up, but like that's like a 6% gain. You got a lightly played for 449, that seems a bit expensive. A near mint for 484, probably worth something there. And we'll have to see how that goes because right now a lot of people are unsure about what's going to happen in the economy in the next like 6 months. So I myself am still unsure on what the world has decided on the economic conditions in the next 6 months. So we'll have to see how that goes. And I'm going to actually bring that up on my quick uh, quick look at the stocks. So the ones we really care about, really care about, is the DXY because that's the dollar strength, and the dollar did drop, and it's right now on its 50-day moving average. We'll have to see because right now that 50-day moving average is strong support, and you can see that the dollar's been on a downward trend and far above its 200. If it starts bouncing from the 50-day and this crosses, then the dollar is going to gain a lot of strength in the next couple of days, and that could really rock the market. Next, Bitcoin. Bitcoin is showing a lot of weakness, and even though it's very oversold, and now is probably a good time to try to get a bounce back to at least 50,000, you can't expect that if the dollar gains too much strength. But in some ways, the Bitcoin and the dollars have been weirdly connected and seem to go up at the same time, which is a strange one. Another one is VIX, which looks like it has a buy indicator. It looks like it's about to go positive on the daily. Next week is going to be crazy. I'm just letting everyone know. Next week, keep an eye on the markets. You're not going to see any movement in the housing markets or anything like that. Stock market moves way ahead of all of that, and everything else is delayed. But as the stock market starts turning down, and you can clearly see on the S&P 500 a pattern down. I know it already says sell, but like if it starts cutting through the 50, because right now it's on the 50. If it breaks 465, which is only like a couple of percent away in the morning of Monday or Tuesday, it could hit 441, which is a almost, what is that, 2%? Oh, no, I take that back. That's a 5% drop. And at that point, it might be a worthwhile chance to like put in a bid and let it swing back up. If it breaks that 200-day moving average bar, then you got a long way to go before it hits another support. So 427, 435. I mean, here's a big support. 318. Now, I don't think I need to let you guys know that 318 is almost a 31% drop. Now, that is easily going to go into a bad territory. And at that point, any bounce that you get will be sold off, and then the stock market will drop lower and lower. It all depends on what the inflation is going to do in the next couple of days. Anyways, guys, thanks for listening. Have a good one, and see you later.